Okay, Director Humora, you ready to start?
Yes, I am. Council member, good to see you this afternoon.
Good to see you, Greg.
And the mayor, Dedina, will be joining us shortly, but he's a little bit behind schedule. So we're going to go ahead and get started without him since we have a quorum.
Okay.
He just joined. Let me promote him before we take roll call.
Super fast.
Okay, hold on.
Better not blink.
Hey, guys.
Hi,
Okay,
Mayor. How are you?
Hello, Mayor.
All right. Kimberly, you want to call roll?
yes. Director LaCava,
Present.
let's see, Director Dedina,
He is here.
Chair Humora,
Here.
we have a quorum.
Thank you. Welcome to the May 12th edition of the SDCP Finance and Risk Committee. Do we have any public comment for non-agenda items?
No, we do not have any public comments.
Thank you very much. And does staff have anything to add or withdraw from the agenda?
No, we do not.
Thank you, Dr. Washington. With that, we're moving on to the regular agenda. Item 1 is Treasurer's Report.
Thank you, Chair Humora. Good afternoon, directors. We are presenting to the Finance and Risk Management Committee for recommendation to the board at the upcoming board meeting to receive and file the Treasurer's Report for our year-to-date period ending March 31st, 2022. Next slide, Kimberly. For the most part, from a financial standpoint, we continue to track along in line with our budget. Just a couple of deltas that I'd like to point out, as you'll notice in the table on the right, our 9-month year-to-date numbers compared to the budget, the $2.1 million delta here pretty much is centered in the accounting for uncollectible accounts. The budget, we accounted for approximately 0.5% of uncollectible accounts, and in the actual financial reporting, for all intents and purposes, we conservatively estimate 1% in uncollectible accounts to arrive at our net revenue number. That differential is offset somewhat by the total expenses reported for the period compared to the budget. You'll recall in our amended budget, we were able to show some savings in terms of the original budget and as it was amended. So the financials are reflective of that in the year-to-date comparison to the budget, resulting in a nearly $5.6 million change in net position compared to what was budgeted, with a differential just under $2 million. The bar graph below the table is essentially, again, graphical depiction of how we are tracking. As you can see, we're pretty much on par for the most part when we look at our actual results for the year-to-date third quarter compared to what we budgeted overall for the financial position for San Diego Community Power. Next slide, Kimberly. This slide represents a comparison of our actual results compared to our projections. So we continue to monitor our overall results as well as our projections so that we can make sure that the projections, as accurately as possible, reflect our actual results. And as you can see here, for the most part, we are pretty much tracking along with the projections. Keep it in mind, projections, of course, change from time to time, but for the most part, we have been quite successful in tracking in line with our overall projections, or our pro forma, as it compares to our actual results. as you can see here. And again, the bar chart is a graphical depiction of how we're tracking from a visual standpoint. And we're pretty much in line with what we've projected. Next slide, Kimberly. So again, we are seeking a recommendation from the Finance and Risk Management Committee to present the Treasurer's report for approval by the board to receive and file at the upcoming board meeting. And with that, Chair Kimura, I will pass it back over to you. And I see Director Dedina has a hand raised.
Well, unless there are any public comments or questions first.
There are no public comments or other hands raised.
No, as usual, Eric or Dr. Washington, I'm always really impressed with the work you do to present good news, which in today's economy is actually fairly remarkable. And so maybe just comment on that, because I'm assuming the public, if they see this report, would go, wow, you said, the largest period of surge in inflation since the 1970s, I think. And so I'm assuming because we don't have a lot of operating expenses, but in terms of energy, I would have thought that energy costs would have been higher, but I'm assuming we had locked in prices. Is that right? Does that explain that very amazingly impressive performance?
Yeah, that's a really good point, Mayor Dedina. And I see we've got Byron Vosberg, our Power Services Director, on the call as well. So the pro forma takes into account forward curves or forward energy costs, but we continue to hedge and offset those actual market prices because we're able to hedge at a cost below what the current market rates that are baked into or included in the overall performance. So that served us well. In addition, I just have to compliment our team who continues to work collaboratively to make sure that we're tracking and that we're monitoring all of our revenue streams as well as all of our costs as tightly as possible. So hats off to the overall team that allows us to continue to pretty much stay on track with our actual to budget comparison as well as our actual to pro forma projection. So.
Okay, well, that's good. It's very well presented as usual, and I appreciate the good work. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'll echo that. 1% variance is outstanding in any budget.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other comments or questions?
No, I appreciate Mayor Dedina's questions and Dr. Washington's response. And as you said, that kind of variation is outstanding in today's world. So thank you for that good work and the work of all the staff.
Thank you, Director LaCava.
Well, let me make one comment because I mentioned this to Karen, as someone who runs a nonprofit in a small city like all of us. Well, Joe, you're at a little larger city, but the really good work in financial management and operations management, like doing an outstanding job in the basic stuff, allows you then to have the political capital with our customers and ratepayers to do the interesting stuff, right? Like if the bottom line isn't taken care of, and in this case, it's extremely outstanding, then that gives you the political capital, right? And we all know this, right? But to do other interesting, innovative programs that you may not be able to do if the finances aren't right. So I've just been really impressed, and I'll say this again, just by the ongoing commitment to really doing some really outstanding financial management. It's very, very important. As we all know, we take it for granted, but I just wanted to comment on that. So thanks again.
With that, we will receive and file the report. Last thing on the agenda is committee member announcements. Anything, Councilmember LaCava?
Nope, nothing to add. Thank you.
Mayor Dedina?
I just made my speech, so I'm done.
And I won't belabor the point any further. With that, we are adjourned at 3:12.